In this tutorial, we're going to take a look at the left and right locators and also the event boundaries and how to use them to locate throughout a project. To begin with, let's take a look at the left and right locators. They have buttons associated with them here on the master unit. And the left and right locators are used for many things in Nuendo, including exporting audio mixdowns, creating cycle markers, and generally just to have location points within the project. We also use them to create looped playback of a certain area. So there's a left locator and a right locator. You can think of the left locator as the start position and the right locator as the end position. So here's how it works. You can use the playback cursor to set the locator position. So if I move the playback cursor to a certain position, I hit the set key on the numeric keypad and hit the left locator button. That will place the left locator at the current cursor position. If I move down the timeline a ways, set, and then hit the right locator button, now I have set the right locator's position. You can also do this while you're playing back. So let's say we're down the timeline a little bit and we're playing. While the playback is occurring, I can go set left and then set right. This would allow you to set the left and right locators with your ear as opposed to looking on screen and trying to position them that way, which can be of benefit. So now the left and right locators can be used to locate the playback cursor. Let's say we've set the left and right locators there. We've scrolled back here a ways, and now we want to move the playback cursor to the left locator. Just simply press the left button, and now the cursor moves to that position. Let me show you again here. Snapping to that position. If I press the right locator button, the playback cursor will jump to the right locator position. If I enable playback with cycle enabled, now the playback will cycle between the left and the right locators over and over again. We also use the left and right locators to create cycle markers, which we'll talk about in more detail in the markers tutorial, and also for ADR. We create a cycle marker for each ADR line that we're going to replace. And we'll cover that in those tutorials. Let's take a look at the buttons just to the right here, the previous event and next event buttons. And what these are useful for is locating between the boundaries of each event. In the case of audio events, let's take a look at a couple of tracks right here. We have some events on these two different tracks, and we can use the previous event and next event buttons to move the playback cursor between event boundaries on those selected tracks. So I'm hitting the previous button, so the playback cursor is moving to the left to the next boundary of an event on one of those selected tracks. For example, if I just had one track selected and I use the next event button, it's just going to step through the beginning and the end of each event on that track. This allows you to quickly step through events on a track. Now, the nice thing is it works for any and all selected tracks. So let's say I have two non-synchronous tracks, or non-adjacent tracks, I should say. And we want to tab through the boundaries on those two tracks. Now, the previous and next buttons are moving between event boundaries on both tracks. So I could have, many more tracks too. I could have 10, 15 tracks selected, and the next and previous buttons would tab through event boundaries on any one of those selected tracks. So between the left and right locators and being able to step through the event boundaries on tracks, these four buttons right here give you a lot of access to navigation in Nuendo and make it very easy right in front of you. The ability to quickly set locators and then utilize them for locating purposes and to step through event boundaries. They're two independent systems, but they work well together during editing. So we'll have more navigation tutorial videos coming up.